Hello guys and gamers, and welcome back to another video. I'm gonna just film a quick video with my camera that is not as good, but hey, we just had the Nintendo Direct and under 24 hours ago, and I wanted to make a video about it. So here we go, 5 questions after the February Direct. Number 1, and this was something people started talking about before the Direct happens because it was accidentally leaked online, and that is, why is Zelda so expensive? Why is it $70? Now, Nintendo has clarified that yes, this is true. Zelda is $70, but this will not be a trend going forward. This will only apply to certain games, and I feel like with the case of Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, it's such a massive game that could be some implications with how much memory it takes from the cartridge or whatever. But there has been a trend otherwise in the gaming sphere of big AAA games rising to the $70 price point. I think a part of this is just Nintendo wanting to stay relevant and stay in the same competition as the other guys, being Sony and Microsoft. If you go to a store and you see 2 games on the shelf, you see Breath of the Wild and The Last of Us. But the difference there is that Last of Us is $70 and Breath of the Wild is only $60. And in Nintendo's eyes, the potential customer would look at Last of Us and say, well, that costs more, so the quality is better. And this is consistent with how Nintendo usually prices their games when they attach a $60 price point to a remake, or the fact that Nintendo prices almost never go down is because by pricing them high, Nintendo wants to give the perceived value of their game to a customer. But also remember that if you want Tears of the Kingdom for a bit cheaper, you can always buy the Nintendo Switch Online vouchers, assuming Breath of the Wild is compatible with those. Number 2, the question, what's left for the holiday season? Because this Direct was really focused on the first half of this year, but like after Pikmin in July, there is no first party games announced or dated. We know nothing. So is this just a slower year for Nintendo, or are there more things coming? I definitely think there are more things coming. I don't think it will be anything as big as Zelda. Zelda will be the biggest thing released this year. A lot of the release calendar will also be filled by DLC, like we saw in this Direct. There was a lot of DLC. There was Mario Kart, there was Xenoblade, there was Splatoon, and I assume we are also going to get Pokemon in Pokemon Day. In a few weeks, we're going to get more Pokemon DLC announced. So there's a lot of DLC. But aside from that, people want like actual real new games. And for that, I think we'll have to wait until summertime, because that's when Nintendo usually has their second big Direct of the year. And also, let's not forget Pokemon Day. On the 27th of February, we will have Pokemon Day. And Pokemon Day usually has kind of a Pokemon Direct with it to bring us news about this year in Pokemon. Usually we get like a main release title revealed then, but now that we just got Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, I think they will focus on the DLC, but we might also get like some sort of a spin-off, Pokemon Detective Pikachu 2, Pokemon, new Pokemon Stadium, whatever you can think of might be releasing. So that also might take a spot on the release calendar. But altogether, looking at the year, it seems a bit slow. So question number 3, is this intentional? Is this slow period intentional? Is Nintendo trying to quiet down on the big games and starting to prepare for a new console? That is a very good question. And while I think we are still quite a bit away from the next Nintendo console, my prediction is like Soonest is March 2025, so we would at least have 2 years of the Nintendo Switch left, and this is because of two reasons. One is that we still have a lot for the Switch, and a lot of that is like live service DLC stuff that just has not been fulfilled yet. For example, Splatoon 3 released last year, and when it released, Nintendo said that hey, this game will get updates, like updates, Splatfest, the new DLC, they will get that for the next 2 years, so that would go into next year. So I don't think early next year we would be getting a new console at least. 2. Nintendo has continuously said that Switch will define what it means to have a longer life cycle for a console or something like that. Basically saying, hey, the Switch might be around for a bit longer than you would expect. So I don't think Nintendo would be giving up just over 7 years and then calling it quits. And question number 4. Will Pokemon be on Nintendo Switch Online? One of the most surprising reveals of this Direct was that Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games were coming to the Nintendo Switch Online. And of course, with those two consoles, one of the biggest games both of them had were Pokemon Red and Blue, Pokemon Gold and Silver, and Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire. So the question is, will those appear on Nintendo Switch Online? And I doubt it. I doubt it because Pokemon and Game Freak as a company kind of want people to connect all Pokemon games kind of together. That's why we have the application Pokemon Home. So you can transfer Pokemon from the original Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire all the way to the current games. And that is fantastic. But if you put Pokemon on a service like the Nintendo Switch Online, where you can't always access your game and someday will never access it again, I don't think that is something that Game Freak would want. And if they were to release these retro Pokemon games on the Nintendo Switch, I think they would kind of be a separate thing that you could buy from the eShop instead of having access to them via the Nintendo Switch Online app. But there is one thing, there might still be Pokemon spin-offs on the NSO, and we actually saw Pokemon Trading Card Game, the game for Game Boy, shown in the Nintendo Direct, so there's some Pokemon content at least coming. And the final question I want to answer in this video is, are Nintendo Directs worth it anymore? After seeing the reaction to this Direct online, people have been a bit mixed on it. Some people really liked it, some people didn't find it that exciting, and some people started questioning, are Nintendo Directs worth watching anymore? And I do think that this is a superior format to having an E3 presentation or a press conference about these new announcements. It's a good way to get attention to yourself and a good way to control the conversation of what is said about your game. But that said, Nintendo Directs have been kind of getting boring, and that is because the presentation itself is kind of dull nowadays in the Directs itself, and they used to be so much more creative and have so much more comedy and personality through them, but nowadays they are just Shinya Takahashi standing in front of a green screen announcing things. So that is a bit boring. I wish there was a bit more personality through them. I wish every Nintendo Direct would be a bit different. I wish they would put more effort into it. So that is definitely one thing I would hope to see from them in the future. But I do think these are a preferable method of releasing information. It's good to have this hype building up for a Nintendo Direct and not just have each trailer going into their YouTube channel just randomly releasing if you go online seeing like, oh, there's a new Kirby trailer. Okay. But so it's good to have like focus on all of these games, and it's also good for other games, like the smaller games, not just Nintendo games, to be highlighted with the big stuff like Zelda or Pikmin or Kirby. So you can be like, hey, I was never gonna find out about this game that looks cool. It's a small little indie title, but it was shown in the Nintendo Direct, so I watched it, and now I'm gonna buy it. So I think it's still a very good marketing opportunity for other people as well, rather than just Nintendo. So those are my answers to the questions about Nintendo Direct. What do you think? What would you answer to these questions, and what did you think about the Nintendo Direct in general? Let me know down in the comments below, and I will see you guys later. Bye bye.